This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation. 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 Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company with the Foundation. So happy that you tuned in today. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Talk to me. You remember Mr. Rogers. It's a great movie. You should actually check it out on Netflix. Listen, guys, it's a beautiful day. I'm so happy to be in the land of the living, I must say. I got to be absolutely honest with you. A lot of things have transpired over the past few days where we, I don't know about you, I mean, it's led to more introspection for me. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about that and kind of dive into that to find out where we are. I just want to be able to thank all the persons that continue to sponsor the show. I want to thank your support. I want to thank you for the fact that I travail the city. You kind of shout me out, Howard. I'm getting more and more calls about, Howard, tell me a little bit more about Small Business Thursday. Howard, tell me a little bit more about this. The entire concept is to really engage the community. That's just what it is. The entire concept is for me to be able to engage those persons who, not necessarily disenfranchised, but not able to get over that small hump, that mark, to be able to reach an audience to make some things happen. So I thank you so much for being able to shout out and say, hey, Howard, you're doing good. How can I be a part of this? And you know exactly what to do. 827-0111, 827-0111. That's my personal line. I had at least 4 conversations over the weekend that was 25 minutes and longer. Please, for God's sake, give me a little. I just had to go do some things for my wife and my children, so I was busy. So y'all forgive me, man. It was a beautiful time. I'm so happy. And today is a sort of a somber moment for me. I got a call this weekend. And after everything that we would have gone through, after watching that live the other day, with the Darville family from Kenise passing away, I got a telephone call, right? Texted my good friend. I told you, Gerard is my very good friend. And I texted him, hit him up. Hey, hope everything is good. We're praying for you. I mean, I can't console him with the idea that I've done, but this is what I have. This is the strength that I have. When I need strength for myself, this is where I go. So I asked for him to be refueled, revived, restored, refreshed, and sort of aligned to really advocate and do what he has to do to get some change in these areas. He called me, right? I really didn't expect him to call me. He called me, right? So I said, what's up? I say, hey, what's up? Softly, trying to be able to ease into the conversation because I know that this could be a very difficult time for him and his family. And, I go to church with some of her, Kenise's family that passed away. We just put her to rest, her mother to rest, before the year turned over in December. And so before this month is out, we have another tribulation that we're dealing with. So there's sort of a somberness and this sort of this reverence to an idea of, hey, listen, this life, the fragileness of this life that we live, that exists in this particular space, we have to be very sensitive in how we deal with it and very conscious of the fact that we're not here for long. And so, through all of that, I got a call from Gerard, and he asked me to come on and sit with us today. I said, are you sure? He says, Howard, I'm sure. I said, are you sure? He said, Howard, I'm absolutely sure. He said, I got to start the fight for my wife. I got to be able to put some stuff out there. There's a lot going on. And we need to be able to, she can't just go like that. We have to fight for her. Let it be known that what has happened is wrong. And I want to do something also. I mean, I've made a couple calls. I won't say who the calls were to. If you're listening, you know who you are. But I made a couple of calls. They can be general. And I tried to call the affiliates and those from the administrative arm of the hospital, Princess Margaret Hospital, and really trying to find out how we're going to be able to assist with the blood drive. It's just baffling to me why you didn't have blood. So conversations continue to kind of, escalate. Howard, they don't have any blood because there's so many murders and shootings and this and that and the other thing, and so the bank is continually being depleted. And I don't know why. I just didn't think of that. And I said, wow, this is an amazing thing. This is true. So I want to do my part. And the first thing that I thought about is, how can we get blood back in this bank? So that wouldn't be an issue. What do we do with our strength? We got the blood. I got the blood. I got it right here. What do we do with our strength to kind of fix this particular problem? Right? And so when Gerard comes on with us today, he's not here just yet. He said he had to stop and do a couple of things. So I'm just waiting on him to get here with us. But how do we do that? And then he sent some stuff over. They're going to have a blood drive. I think it's going to be around Valentine's, if I'm correct. They sent me a flyer. I think it's going to be around Valentine's. I'm going to give him an opportunity to kind of talk about it a little bit more. And but the conversation today has to be about negligence. And it has to be more than just kind of pointing fingers, but how do we find ourselves in the position that we could ensure that if this was to ever happen again, that people would be prosecuted, that people would lose their jobs, because it can't just be, okay, we don't have any blood. All right, let's give the blood. Is there still negligence here? Is there still issues here? Let's do our part as a society, as a community, to rectify our part, our issue. And I don't know, should there be a policy I don't know, man. I don't want to be insensitive to anything. I saw over the weekend also, driving on Cowpen, I had to turn around. I said, what happened? I was heading out Fox Hill to kind of do something. You remember I told you we were going over to Ahmad Thompson's thing? He had shifted into focus at Fox Hill Community Center. So I was heading up there, and I said, what happened? When you see the yellow tape, you know it ain't good. Somebody passed away, lost their life. And, stories later said that, he was on a motorcycle, and he lost his life, lost control. So I don't want to be insensitive about, should there be a policy of who gets blood, how they get blood, right? What should we do? But we got to be able to do our part. I'm going to take a telephone call before we get into anything. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Grant. How you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, sorry. I've called it 3 shows in a row, but it really taxes your brain sometimes. When these, especially weekends, when you have nobody to scream at, just to cry to when these events happen. There are also some situations related in regards to blood as well. I'm no doctor, but I used to be a blood donor. And when you reach certain diseases or what they call ailments, they can't take blood from you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you become a diabetic,
mm-hmm.
they try not to take blood from you anymore. I used to be a blood donor. Every 3 months I used to be able to give in blood.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't do it no more. And there's other avenues, like you say, the amount of killings and so forth. Sometimes when a guy gets shot on the street, he's not dead, so rushing him into the hospital operation to right off the way he needs blood. It has been depleted. It was being depleted years ago. I started back in 1975 organizing the Prince Hall Masons to march for blood. We used to march. In fact, they still do it every year, where they don't march anymore, but they don't. The Masonic Lodge donate blood to the Princess Margaret. I think they do it every September. I started that back in 1972.
Mm-hmm.
But what really gets me, Mr. Grant, is I think that we have reached the time in our country where we talk about these political parties and our leaders, and I think it's time that they should listen to us and stop trying to let us know that they know it all. When I hear them talking about they need a new House of Assembly because rats there, they'll call rats rental kills, but that's a rat taste. We could use that to the next 100 years. That one right now, about 38 people a day go there 4 times a month anyway. We don't need a new church in the building yet. We don't need a new bike in the Bahamas yet. We don't need a new big time 4, 5, 10-story post office yet. But what we do need is an up-to-date modern hospital where people are not afraid to go to the hospital because they're going to die waiting on a gurney to see nurses and doctors for 3 and 4 days and a whole weekend while they're bleeding inside. We need to get our leaders to say, look here, on the priority list, we got to put up a state-of-the-art hospital for the behavioral people first out of the box. That's where our money goes. Then we can filter down to do these things as we go along. We got to start taking care of people in the Bahamas first instead of taking care of the foreigners first. Why should we be catering everything to foreigners in our country and not catering to the Bahamians? Why are we giving free land to foreign invaders from the south? We can't knock them. They're building free homes. I don't know where they get the lumber and stuff from. They don't have no water. They don't have no electricity. But you and I, we got to spend $80,000 to buy a piece of property.
Did he go? He's gone? Sparky, I lost you. I apologize about that. I didn't cut you, Sparky. Just want to be very clear. I share your sentiments, man. I'm here and I am, we're from 2 different generations, Sparky and I. So, when he starts to talk about what happened in 1970 and some of the initiatives and ideas to see some things happen in our society, and some of those traditions continue to be able to hold fast, and then we get to this space. And I'm just baffled. I'm just baffled that the country, the sort of blueprint that we laid for this strong, progressive country, this idea that, the freedom and the liberty that we enjoy now, that we can be able to move towards and have a true sense of independence, I am just baffled. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm baffled by the fact that if the foundation is strong, what happened to the bell course? Why a roof warp? What happened? Everything was good at the base. Over the years, what happened? Why is there a bow in the building? Why is there a crack running through the bell course? What has happened over the years to this building that we've been doing, this building that we call the Bahamas? That's the question that I have for you. Where have we gone wrong? Has there been a significant social boom that we just didn't have the capacity to take care of? What has happened? And the only thing that I continue to be able to travel to is the fact that we've lost community. We've lost the idea. After independence was introduced to the Bahamian people, after you've walked into this idea of having your own, after the then PLP government would have been able to usher in this new day, and I'm not just talking about this kind of an idea now from a campaign slogan perspective. I'm talking about ushering in a new day to the Bahamas, where mothers were taking their children, their daughters, and saying to them, baby, you ain't never got to wash people's clothes no more in your hand. Baby, you ain't got to go down to the well no more. You ain't got to do this, you ain't got to do that. Get yourself educated, go to school, and you could work in the bank. The bank at that time was identified as moving up the social ladder. All right? And so mothers were excited. Keep in mind that these were the people that could not even enter the front door. Now, having an opportunity to be able to make some things happen tremendously. And so I'm here. And I'm only looking at the country and I'm saying to myself, what's gone wrong? Where have we gone wrong as a nation? And have we gone so far away from our goal and our post that there's no opportunity for reconciliation. I just need to know that. We got another telephone call on the line. Let me take this call. Caller, you on the line with us? Go ahead.
Good morning, Howard. How are you?
I'm
Good
fantastic,
afternoon,
man. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
That's good.
Interesting conversation. Just wanted to kind of offer a short comment based on what you're getting into about foundation was strong. We had a lot of great things happening, and then somehow the question is probably where are we? We lost our way, was not. I don't think that we've lost our way. I think that we are a great nation. I think that what we have succumbed to over the last probably 30 years, as we approach 50, is that we started to get very, very comfortable with the idea that there was nothing wrong when we started to see the cracks, like you talked about in the building. There was an idea that maybe this problem isn't as big as it seems to be. Maybe we're all making it up. I think, and I refer to that when we talk about whether it was crime, whether it was our diminishing infrastructure, whether it was our social decay. I think over the years, we became numb to the cracks, the fissures that we started to see, and we accepted it. Now, we are a nation in a very challenged position. We are in a very, very difficult place, and everything seems to be falling apart. But I believe we've watched this over a number of years, and we failed to address it. I think that we're not too far gone, but we have to now do some very, very strong decision-making as a nation to arrest the structural failures that I believe we're seeing.
Let me ask you this, and I think you are qualified to be able to run with me with this analogy. Now, let me ask you, has the foundation, because sometimes we, the old English folks will tell you get too big for your bridges, right? Sometimes the foundation may not be able to carry the load of the next tier. We didn't have any idea that we would go up 2 stories or 3 stories. Do you think that our aspirations as a nation, as we aspired and we grow and we watch the world expand, we didn't expand our foundation. We left it where it was and we tried to build on it. Is that possibly causing a toppling over of what we know to be the social infrastructure that we would have enjoyed back in the day? Talk to me about it.
I think that you could move directly to the head of the class. I think that hindsight is 20/20. I think our forefathers, as great as they were, 50 years ago, could not have imagined that we would get as a nation this far so quickly. I think personally that
that's
the
crazy.
success that this country has achieved has overpassed its foundation.
That's crazy.
I don't think that we appreciated that Nassau, being the center of the Bahamas, would have a population its size, with its demands that it has for energy, with its demands that it has for social systems, its education. I think we didn't think we would be this big, this fast. And had we thought about it, we would think about how we make a place like Grand Bahama or Andros, if you think about size, the center rather than Nassau. So I think there's great validity to the point you make, that maybe the foundation of this nation is not strong enough to withstand the structure that we have built upon it at 50.
You know what? I think the vision was strong, but the foundation that we built, because we talk about this all the time, right? We talk about this idea that our forefathers, even now, they're having conversations about, Sparky just called and they're having conversations about, we got to get a new House of Assembly, we got to get a new building, we got to do it. They are the traditional men in our society that come from, the elk that help build this society. They're so consumed with building a building. I got to build a building. I got to let you see that we build this building. But we ain't building people. And if you start to build people, then the people would say, hey, listen, how do we contribute to the next tier? How do we contribute to building this? We're leaving something out. Do we expand here? Why don't I go back home? We're going to give opportunity. We don't have that in the country. Everyone will come to Nassau and build on this small foundation. Talk to me about it.
Before I go, I want to make one final contribution to this conversation that's very, very enlightening and necessary for nation development today. I think that we've not been very honest with ourselves. The fact of the matter is the Princess Margaret Hospital, being a structure that provides the nation's health care, it received, I think now, almost 10 years ago, with the last couple $100 million we spent there to create the new critical care block. Mm-hmm. That was only that was only the first wave of many waves of addition to match society's needs that it needed. But guess what? We got happy with that, not recognizing that there was reports and reports that said we needed an entire new hospital, not just a critical care block. It said that we needed much more than we have. So unfortunately, when we see the kind of challenges and the kind of mishaps and the kind of issues that they're having today, it's only because we as a nation, all of us, we accepted the Band-Aid, but ignored the root cause of the problem. The facility really, really needs much more than it's gotten, and it will need much more to continue providing the type of care that a growing nation will continue to impress upon it.
My brother, I thank you so much. I really do thank you so much for your telephone call. You and I have an appointment that we're supposed to be able to make some things happen. Let's see if we can be able to shore that up and get you in here so we can really have a good conversation about where we are. I thank you, my brother. Thank you for your conversation. Listen, guys, please give me a call, 325-4316, 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up on the text. I see the text coming through like crazy. 422-4796, 422-4796. I'm still waiting on Jamar Dowell to be able to come in here and have a good conversation with us to talk about what needs to happen going forward, where he knows that some things have gone wrong and what we can do to be able to kind of resolve those issues. My brother, I'm waiting on you. Give me a call if you're coming in. Listen, I am flexible with you. I know, I understand these things, man. I'm here with you, all right? So if you can, if you're ready, we're open. If you're not, we're open whenever you are, all right? 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant, The Foundation. We'll be right back after this.
The Foundation. The Foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The Foundation. The Foundation. The Foundation. The Foundation.
At Wendy's, we are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Guardian Radio and the Foundation are on the move.
Bahamas, this one's for you.
SBT, Small Business Thursdays. Every Thursday, the Foundation with Howard Grant will highlight small businesses throughout the country, far and wide. Your products, services, prices, and personality. We want to hear it all. Get your 30 or 60-second advertisement heard on air at a fraction of the cost. We here at the Foundation understand the times and don't want you to be left behind. With Guardian Radio, you reach your specific demographic, and it is unmatched.
We reach thousands daily.
Get your products off the shelf and your services in their hearts. Small Business Thursdays with the Foundation, only on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. For more information, call 302-2300 or the Help Me Howard line at 827-0111. SBT. Small Business Thursdays. Get your business moving today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant in your company. The Foundation, having good conversations with you, really talking about the infrastructure and the layout of who we are as a nation. Have we outgrown that, man? I had a great conversation with my guy. If you didn't know that voice, he's the head of the BCA, a very good friend of mine, Leonard Sands. And, it was fitting for him to kind of tap into that analogy because that's right up his alley, right? But truly, I just wanted to know whether or not we've outgrown the space that we're in. And, have you ever been in a space that all of us, I feel like we're family, so we can have this conversation. You remember a few of us and the cousins would come over and hang over with you on the weekend, and 5 and 7 of y'all sleeping in the small bed, and that was so much fun, and it was great during the time. But as you grow, you realize that, hey, I need my space. I need my this, I need my that. And you didn't have access to those particular things. And as a result of that, you became very uncomfortable in the space that you were living. Your mommy gave you the opportunity, your daddy gave you a chance and whatnot. You're here, but as you grow older, you realize that I need a couple of things that I don't have in this space. All right, I need my own bathroom. I need my own room. I'm sick and tired when I come into this space and there are other people talking and I just want to be able to relax. How have we gotten to that space? Are we still crammed here in this infrastructure of a nation that we have, and we haven't been able to kind of reach out? Is that what's tapping into the kind of turmoil? Have you ever looked at the faces of people when they turn on the road in the mornings? Have you ever looked at it? Have you ever just, because we're in traffic, all of us in traffic together. You'd ever take a look at your left or your right and just look at the faces of people at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning? This is wild. There's something going on. How can we live in paradise and still have this demeanor that we're going through hell? On every front in this nation, every governmental front in this nation that's supposed to provide us opportunity, access to be able to get business and things, then there is relentless frustration. Why? And there are more and more conversations about this sort of a lackadaisical approach to healthcare in this country. We got to talk about these things. And one of the things that popped in my head while we were having this conversation, if generations after generations have been saying and really talking about the need for us to move the hospital, is your fear moving the hospital to the outskirts that it'll create this sort of a ghetto mentality out in the outskirts? Let's just shoot straight, because that's where everyone's going to be leaning towards. This is where free healthcare is. All right? Are you afraid with the land that exists in the western part of Nassau that the government has carriage over, that's crown land, to put a hospital in this particular space because you'll shift the sort of development in those areas? It's just questions. It's just questions. Is there a prevailing mindset that says, keep the hospital in the center of the city? Because these are where the impoverished areas are. Is this the mindset that causes you to keep the country in this kind of crippling position? Let's take a telephone call. Caller, you on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hello, Howard.
Hi, how you doing?
What a time.
This is
Howard Grant.
Yes, ma'am.
Grant me some time.
Go ahead.
I want to start out by saying the Darwell family have my sympathies.
Mm-hmm.
And then not to sound confused, but to say that they are a casualty in this crumbling foundation that we call in a country.
Mm-hmm.
The systems have failed us, and we cannot no longer say it's because of the leaders, and that's the leaders throughout the whole periphery, the church, the politics, the societies, the groups. It's the nation as well now. And so, when people are sent to cry out on behalf of the Lord and say to this country that you need to repent, you need to start getting back to the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Would we, our forefathers, decided they would put before the Lord on behalf of the people to give the nation over to the Lord. This nation has strayed too far from it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just one part of this whole picture of chaos that is happening in our nation now.
Mm-hmm.
And as a child of God, a servant of the Lord in this nation, I have cried out on the wall, like I know quite a number of people are, interceding on behalf of this nation and asking God to stay his hand of judgment. And now, because suddenly I turned around and looked at the nation, and I see evil, and it's become a cesspool of disobedience, corruption, chaos, cliques are the order of the day in this nation. And in this little town, Nassau, which is the huge majority of this nation. And instead of crying out as a watchman on the wall and an intercessor, I find myself saying to God, bring forth your judgment.
Kill him, Jesus. That's what you're saying.
I look around and I try to see some good to pray on behalf of my nation that I am in. And I say, no, Lord, they're not hearing you. And this is years, this is decades. I'm not just saying this loose and now. This is decades of praying and hoping and interceding and crying and weeping on behalf of this nation. Sacrificing my time on behalf of this nation. And to turn around from the wall and to look at this nation and see the cesspool of evil that it's become, I say to the Lord, and I thought it was me, Lord, bring your judgment. Justice must prevail. And I thought it was me, Howard. And he said, no, it's not of you, Yvette. It's of me now. And so, Howard, whatever happens, whatever that means, and to give you an idea of what that meant to the Lord, Dorian was mercy. People look around and say Dorian was terrible, was hell. Dorian was the mercy of the Lord God Almighty Jehovah. This Nassau do not want to see the fullness of the wrath of God. Yeah. This Nassau does not want to see the fullness of the judgment of Almighty justice and truth. But they will see it. And guess what? The only thing, Howard, that is holding back his hand is maybe they would turn to him and repent before it's too late.
Wow.
We have been in holding pattern for judgment. The Lord said this in my heart. Mm-hmm. This has been some time, Howard. Mm-hmm. We have been in holding pattern. You know like how planes are in holding pattern for landing? Mm-hmm. We have been in holding pattern for judgment, Howard. The Lord say no more. Nassau, your time up. Time up now, Nassau. Mm-hmm. For you to get in the pattern, time for you to be at the top of the line. What you gonna do, Nassau? Mm-hmm. Bahamas, what you gonna do? It's time. Your time is out of the holding pattern. You are now at the top of the line for judgment. What are you going to do? Are you going to repent and turn to Almighty God before it's too late?
Wow. Well, this is a lot of stuff that you put on us, Miss Yvette. You put your name out there, I might as well call it. There's a lot of stuff you put on us. I want to say to you that we feel your heart. I know that we normally don't go to a break this quick, but my guest just walked in the studio. I want to kind of set everything up for him. Guys, please. 325-4316, 325-4259, 422-4796. Gerard's in the house, guys. We're going to take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
Foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation.
We're good for you. With so much going on in the world today, only accepting cash at your business can be risky. Let Fidelity offer you and your customers safety, convenience, and the flexibility of a fixed or mobile terminal. Take it with you, on the move and on the go, because business should never stop. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit us at any of our branches. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Here we go. J.S. Johnson Insurance agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the scene, protecting since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You're always covering me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio, Guardian Radio. Howard Grant and your company with the foundation. So happy that you're here and alive and in full effect and kind of chiming into the conversation about whether or not we've outgrown this foundation, whether or not the ideas for the country had been in a vacuum, that we may not necessarily see this exponential growth that we've seen over the past 50 years, and whether or not our leaders, despite the fact that they've seen a rapidly growing world, has done their best to kind of isolate us into this sort of a space, this vacuum that we can't find growth, right? That's what this conversation started off with, but I told you that I had a guest coming in with me. Now, you've heard the stories, right? And this is going to be the introduction. In the second hour, we're going to take it a little bit deeper. But you've heard the stories. It's in the newspaper today. If you pick up your Guardian, you can be able to see exactly what PMH probe after mother's death. Hospital brought under scrutiny as woman alleged she was neglected. And we saw this stuff. Last week, I told you a very dear friend of mine, his wife, passed away, right? You would have heard him sit with us before on, Rush Hour with Howard and Dazzy. And he came on with his great aspirations about what needs to be done and pine what he's always been an advocate's spirit. And today, we have him here, and his son is here, Chosen's here with us. We have them here in the studio with us to tell us some of the most, I believe, one of the hardest things that he's ever had to go through in his entire life. Because guess why? I only put myself in his shoe and say to myself, if that was me, Jesus, what would I do? Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, give my guy some time just to be able to give a soft introduction and why we're going to be here to have this good conversation with him today. Gerard is so good. Gerard Dahl was in the studio with me. Gerard, is so good to have you, my brother. I thank you for taking the time out and finding the strength to do this. I can be honest with you. Now, I ain't going to give you no wild questions, but I can be honest with you. To sit here and do this, I know that this must be heavy for you, but I know that it must be for a mission. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Howard. Oh, who would have ever thought that this would be the topic?
Never. I always associate sitting with you about the potential of politics and where it's going to go from there. And to do this today, honest to God, I'm telling you, for days, my heart was full and I was crying for you, and that's all I could do.
The only thing I could continue to say is, again, Howard, thank you. Thank you to the wider Bahamian public who supported my wife during her life, who came out, donated blood, shared, was responsive, helped, asserted themselves. even those that couldn't share blood, couldn't give blood, persons were sharing it, persons were trying to contribute. And, you know, so we reached a point now, right? Whereas we did everything that society tells us to do. We, Howard, we grew up our entire life with a hand on our chest saying we pledge allegiance to a flag for which we stand. The Commonwealth of the Bahamas, for which we all should be united through what, Howard?
Love and unity.
Love and service.
Love, I forget it. Service.
That's our national anthem. From a child, all of us grew up with that pledge.
They condition us to this understanding. But as we grow older, it ain't the same things we don't see the national anthem out here.
But where was the love from my
wasn't.
wife?
No.
It wasn't through a lack of trying with my wife. My wife, even on her dying bed, they say, go find blood. She did that. She went and she found blood. And even after, through her means of finding blood, they victimized my wife by saying that she gone on Facebook and that she embarrassed the doctors. If my wife, Howard, was being taken care of like they said they would, when we had an option, Howard, to fly Kenny's away to get treatment, they said, no, don't fly her away. Keep her here.
They could take care of it.
We will. She is in the best hands. Leading up to Kenny's untimely death, Kenny's was on a schedule of blood transfusions, 2 pints a day. I was given a guarantee that as quick as the blood come, as quick as she would get it. Why? Because we understood that because of the delayed time in which the hospital took to ARC, we needed to constantly supply her with fresh blood in order for her oxygen to be able to nourish her organs. Because at this point now, the
platelets was depleting significantly.
The cancer was expanding in her. The cancer which none of them wanted to diagnose as cancer. What the pathologist said on the 2nd of January looked like cancer. Why in this Bahamas did it have to take intervention by January 17th to get the test done?
2 weeks later.
But the pathologist, from the 2nd of January, when my wife was admitted, said that she needed this test. Why, when my wife was admitted into PMH, my wife was COVID negative at PMH. My wife was in isolation room, reverse barrier nursing, immune compromise, suspected to be suffering from leukemia. But the hospital doesn't have any rapid antigen tests for the staff any PCR tests available. So guess what? After my wife did the video, my wife got COVID.
In the hospital?
In the hospital.
When she entered, she didn't have it.
Just for them to say, oh, that's a risk she must take by coming to the hospital. Jesus. That's a risk she must take. So we ask now, right, if she was tested positive for COVID with a hemoglobin level at 4, right? Lungs compromised because of COVID. Did they give my wife anything for COVID? I had to go on and find ivermectin to give to my wife. They never gave my wife anything for COVID. They never treated my wife for a symptom, Howard. They gave my wife for over a week and a half morphine, Voltaren, and Panadol for the pain in her back.
So they operated like a hospice, not necessarily a hospital.
Howard, as much as I want to be angry and upset about everything, right? This is a time for unity. This is a time for us to be able to get together, because my wife's life should not be in chaos and confusion. Oh, how are they fighting hard against chaos and confusion right now? Because there's plenty chaos and confusion to bring.
I know.
Right? My wife's life should be dignified. Because oh, Howard, there's some things I really want to say, Howard. There's some things I really want to say, Howard. Right? The hospital assured my wife that they was going to give her blood. But it seems to be a problem, right, Howard, inside our system, a problem that we have to fix, Howard. Howard, I call on you, Howard, because, Howard, from I know you as always, help me, Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Howard, help me. Because if this could happen to my wife here, what about the people in the Family Islands? Yeah. You know anybody who live in the Family Islands?
I know a lot of people.
So the Family Islands, do they have the level of healthcare service that we have in New Providence? So what happens to somebody on the Family Island if they get sick? Don't they pay insurance too? Mm-hmm. Don't they contribute to national insurance too? Mm-hmm. Don't they have the right to live as well? So what happens if something happens to somebody on the Family Island? What do we have down there to be able to help those people? Every day, we see inside the Bahamas as the only country in the world where you see a person have to put their face on a flyer to stay alive.
That's crazy.
We are governed, right? Our leaders are listening to rules by PAHO and WHO and constraining our economy, where they telling us that, guess what? You can't pay for blood. Howard, I'll tell you this, that my wife was a visionary. Before all of this came on, right?
I know you got a good story for us. Let's take a break. Let's get back and let's have a good conversation about it. I want to hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that you're tuned in. I see that your texts are coming through. I want you to be able to participate, but allow Gerard an opportunity to be able to get that base out so we can all contribute and understand, how do we participate from this point going forward? What do I do? How can we rectify not the loss of his wife's life, but how can we change this and right size this system that it doesn't have to happen again? We're having a very good conversation. My good friend is in the studio with me, Gerard Darville. This is the Foundation 96.9 FM radio. We're going to stop, take a quick break for news and be right back after this.
Foundation.
Three's first installment of Fish Fry Fridays promises to be a classic. Friday, January 27th, it's a massage throwback to the days of 601 as former lead vocalist Colin Nasty Boy McDonald with Sean Wildboy Ferguson and the rest of the Visage Excitement Posse. It all goes down at Margaritaville, downtown Nassau at the 12-Volt Bar. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. $25 entry fee. Or enjoy the fish fry buffet for only $55 before the event and enjoy complimentary access.
Who is it? It's the plumber. I've come to fix this.
Margaritaville, downtown Nassau and Visage presents the special edition of Fish Fry Fridays with special guest Colin McDonald. Friday, January 27th. Fish Fry Fridays.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Today is it's a foundation with Howard Grant. Thank you for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, at the top of the show, we were talking a few things and really talking about whether or not our forefathers understood the fact that the foundation and the kind of not the vision. I think the vision is expansive, but the foundation that they build, the infrastructure that they build, can no longer bear the weight of an expanding economy, expanding community. The mindset, the aspirations that exist here, that small foundation that we had, the idea that they just wanted to do one or two things. Well, child, we just got to stop mining goat or mining the hog or mining this. Now we could do big things. We could work in the bank as a teller. If that was the infrastructure that you built this house of the Bahamas on, it's too small for us. We've expanded into major things, and we're still being faced with challenges as we look for sort of a first world assistance with a third world mindset. And that's one of the issues that we have today. We have in the studio with me my very good friend Gerard Darvo sitting in here. And if you're familiar with the story, his wife passed away sometime last week after her platelets had been depleted. Just read the story in the paper. PMH probe after mother's death. You can just pick up your Guardian today and you can be able to see that in there. So we have him in the studio with us, and I wanted to kind of give him an opportunity to kind of put out there. Talk to us about, you left off and you started to talk to us about the fact that your wife was a visionary, your wife was passionate, and you started to talk to us about some of the things that existed in her. I'm going to give you the mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, so before all of this happened, my wife, she came to me, she said, Gerard, I want you to use your voice. I want for us to be able to start up a blood drive so that there could be sufficient blood in the blood bank for persons. And I say, man, baby, that my platform, I really just talk on like agriculture and stuff like that. She said, but no, baby, this is really serious. If you look and you see how many people every week you see have to ask for blood, it's a crisis. And I said, you know what? All right, then, let's go. So we activated and we had meetings and guess what? Guess how weird life is. The day my wife died, I got an email from the FML group saying that they would contribute $20 per person to their gaming account who come out and donate blood on the 14th of February.
This is crazy. This is Flowers Group.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? And so, all right. And so I was like, wow, right? And so, still grieving through the process of it, right? And so here comes now PAHO saying that, the giving of blood must be voluntary. That no, you can't give people something for their time. No, you can't give them anything to. No, it must be voluntary. So I say, man, y'all get out of here because America don't listen to y'all.
No.
America is pay their people for blood. So y'all get out of here. Y'all come from out here. What y'all trying to do to our country? And this is who leading us. This is what you telling. That's why our country can't get no place, because corporate responsibility cannot be extended into healthcare.
Wow. So they're saying to you that you can't accept anything from the corporate Bahamas to be able to distribute to persons for the giving of blood.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It is. It is insane that if there is a shortage of blood supply and persons are willing to contribute.
Yeah, because this isn't, you ain't manipulating them. You didn't ask them. You didn't solicit. They reached out to you and say, this is what we want to do. Your story is all over the Bahamas right now.
No. My wife had a meeting with them.
She spoke to Flowers?
Yes.
Okay.
Before all of this happened.
Really?
The Flowers team did not know that my wife had died.
So she was advocating for this before, even while she was in the hospital?
Yes.
That's crazy.
But now here we have stumbling blocks, right? That we want to be able to put on something very nice. We want to be able to have enough blood inside a bank that persons don't have to be dying, trying to call, trying to figure out, like, all right, if I come to you as the medical provider, right, shouldn't you have blood products and these medicine and these things available for me?
I can say this to you. You struck a nerve with me when you said this is the only country in the world that you have to put out a flyer for blood to save your life. That this is heavy. Now, let me say this. For quite some time, anytime, especially since the advent of social media, when we see someone face saying, please go and give blood now, we know that this could be a last plea, a last cry, a call that could possibly lead to death. And that's a sad thing.
Yes.
That is an extremely sad thing. Now, one of the things that, you know, everyone who has kind of watched your wife's video prior to her passing, her advocacy, and she started to be able to, she said, I was here from the second. When I came in on the second, I had a low platelet count. And you waited 2 weeks to tell me that I should reach out to someone or to my people to get these things. You could have said that. So do you believe that they should have been more proactive? Were they very casual? Because she said that. She said that throughout her sort of presentation and trying to capture this. This is too casual. This is people's lives. We're not just people in a bed. We are human beings. I got a husband. I got children. Should they have been more formal and more proactive in their approach dealing with some stuff? Talk to me about it.
You know, Howard, so don't let's look at January 2nd in a silo, right?
Mm-hmm.
My wife was admitted into the hospital back in October.
Mm-hmm.
My wife spent 3 weeks inside the hospital.
And they hadn't diagnosed this leukemia.
And they hadn't diagnosed. She came in with a pancytopenia. All her levels were down, and they did a bone marrow biopsy on my wife, saying that this bone marrow biopsy would be able to determine exactly what the cancer was. Well, that operation was done by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde,
Mm-hmm.
because even after my wife was in excruciating pain,
Mm-hmm.
hollering in pain, when they were supposed to properly give her a sedative so that she didn't feel the excruciating pain from that procedure, they came back and they said that they came back in December, 2 months later, to say that the bone marrow biopsy was inconclusive because there was not an adequate bone marrow sample taken. So I asked the doctor, I said, all right, is this a common is this a common error? Does this error happen frequently with somebody who
But you don't know how much sample you require.
And so the doctor said, that's typically operator error.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So now she comes back into the hospital January 2nd, right? So the doctor would pick up her notes, right?
That's the procedure.
The doctor would pick up her notes, would have seen the last time she was admitted, would have seen what was going on with her, and would see now where her vitals are. Is there a need to escalate her case for more urgent care? Or is it something that is less critical? Well, my wife was admitted to the critical care block. Right? Critical care. But 8 days she sat down.
In critical care?
The pathologist ordered a flow cytometry test to be done on my wife. They say that the flow cytometry test would take about maybe 1 or 2
And what's
weeks.
this test for?
This test was to identify what the illness was that my wife was suffering from.
Okay, so they could isolate it and say, okay, we got to deal with this.
Right. So even before so they didn't want to treat her for anything until they knew exactly what they was treating. But what I'm trying to figure out is that how are you going to start treating her if you never took the tests off until the 17th of January?
Wow.
Until the 17th of January, you took the test off? From the 2nd, when the pathologist said that it is essential because of the amount of lymphoblast that is in a system, that it could restrict and cause clotting and cause the low platelets and cause all of these issues. From the 2nd, they told us that they ordered the test, right? And so we felt at ease. All right, boom. They said take 1 to 2 weeks, right? Come to find out, they order Epstein-Barr test. I'm like, what in? This was not on the pathologist report.
Right.
The pathologist report asked for specific tests. What was the justification on either not running the test that he ordered or the significance of this test that he didn't order, which came back and gave you no remedy to treat my wife?
So even now, there has not been identified a specific ailment that should have been treated. You're saying leukemia.
What
or the
happened,
possibility.
Howard, you got to remember, Howard, remember now, right? They mess up. My wife put them on blast. They going into recovery mode.
Oh my God! Now
So
talk
you
to
know,
me.
so you know what they did to my wife, right? Come on now, you know what they did.
They were shamed.
No, man, you know what they did, man. Number 1 cover-up story ever. At 1:35 that morning before my wife died, when they didn't give her the blood that she asked, that was scheduled for her to get 11:30 that day, I be in there, the blood bank, Mr. Darvel, we have the blood products ready for your wife. Going up to the ward, hey, doctor, the blood products ready. Or, sorry, we can't confirm that because the phone system down. We have to wait for a porter to come here to send him down there to confirm that the blood product's ready, and then he have to come back. All right, then, I guess, all backwards, but hey, all right. Later on that afternoon, right, my wife saying, babe, I still ain't get the blood yet. And so I say, man, hey, look here, she still ain't get the blood. What's up? Like, we're taking it so long. Or, they contemplating on moving her. And I saying, all right, well, if y'all was contemplating on moving her, when my wife had COVID on private surgical, Why didn't y'all immediately move her to the COVID ward? Her hemoglobin is at 4. She has COVID. Why did you move my wife over to private surgical? She was on female medical 1 when she first was there in the isolation room. Then when she caught COVID, instead of carrying her to an area that has the adequate resources to deal with a COVID patient, they carried my wife to private surgical. And at 1:35 that morning, before my wife died, they carried my wife to the COVID ward. At 3 o'clock, my wife texted me, babe, go find blood for me. I need blood. You know the type of anger that wake up inside me. I ready to go hunting for blood on the road. I said, baby, what I could do? Because even if I go and I still don't know how to take it out of them. Mm-hmm. I still don't know how to make it. And so I'm saying 5 o'clock, my wife online asking persons that she would give them $50 a bag to come and bring her blood. Howard, if the blood was there, Howard, you know me. Howard, if I be in there and they say the blood there, Howard, the blood there. So why they could push my wife on the COVID ward at 1:35, Howard, and try to say that my wife died from COVID? They trying to say the primary cause of my wife's death now, Howard, is COVID.
Wow.
The embalmer from Clark's funeral home didn't see the autopsy. And he said that, your wife was suffering from leukemia.
Just like looking at her.
Yeah. He said, man, I could see all the clots running through her, everything, how it looked like The funeral home said that they picked my wife up outside underneath a tent. These people have a cold heart. My wife outside in the tent. They had to pick up from Howard. They never gave my wife. No, let me be real. They gave my wife one medicine the entire time she was there. Attenuating, and they gave her 1 dose of hydrourea, trying to see if they could decrease the white blood cells. When the white blood cell count was at about 90,000.
The white blood cells will cause the clotting.
The white blood cells is what constricting everything, because there's so much of them that the red blood cells can't flow, and then the platelets can't develop, and so, right? Oh, Howard, right? But what this is that we have to form a community. I'm asking persons who suffered these sort of indignities to their loved ones that let's come together. Let's be a voice. Let's be the voice to change the system. Because persons keep saying, Gerard, you're going to do a lawsuit. At this point, a class action lawsuit against the government serves no purpose unless we intend to do right with the money to make the system better.
I like this, Gerard.
And my thing is that if we can together, because we the people are the government,
mm-hmm.
they only the elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
We are the government.
Even if you get the money, even if you get the money after a class action lawsuit, no matter what you get, if the issue persists, the country need to be able to rectify this issue.
And the reason why I am saying that a class action lawsuit should be the focus mm-hmm. as well, but we have to temper what we're doing. It's because just like children, right? The government ain't gonna learn until they get a spanking. Mm-hmm. They ain't gonna learn until they feel to start playing around the lives of Bahamians.
Mm-hmm. But that can't come from no one individual. That's why class action.
It can't come because
It got to come from the body.
It didn't happen just to me.
No. There are tons of people who call in, who text in. There are people, I see a call on the line. I know that you guys are calling here. I got a call yesterday. They say, Howard, the same thing happened to me. When I went into the hospital, my platelets was, my blood was at 4. These are the calls I got yesterday, right? After we just would have called this Sunday. And I would have spoken about you, I think would have been Friday last week. You see? That's Chosen in the studio with us. This is Baby right here. This is Baby right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is serious stuff. Now, listen, you started to be able to put some stuff out there. Now people want to know how. How do we participate in this? Where is this community? Where's do you have a website? Do you have a number? How can we help? And a lot of persons also know, and let me do this for you. A lot of persons also know that putting a loved one down is not the cheapest of things, right? You have to be able, especially with the dignity and the kind of love that you have for your wife and what she meant to the community. We know that you would have spent a tremendous amount of money trying to be able to preserve her life. Chosen, you want to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead, let me hear you. How you doing, baby?
I'm good.
Okay, baby. I know you miss mommy.
Yes.
You okay?
Yes.
Chosen look just like my son. I might as well tell you. Our children the same age.
Yes.
You want to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My mommy that died.
Yeah, I know, baby.
You want to say something to your mommy?
Yes.
Say it then.
We like Sandra waiting for my mommy, and her died from cancer.
Wow.
Then her that died from the hospital.
Wow. Chosen is a smart boy, ladies and gentlemen. He's here in the studio with his daddy. His daddy always brings him here. And I want to say this. I want to put this plea out there for you, Gerard. I know that there's something that you're on an advocacy tip right now, but I know that you have to put you say you're ready to call Clark's Funeral Home. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're out here and you want to be able to help, you want to be whatever little definitely helps. I know, do you guys have a GoFundMe page? Do you have something that people could be able to support, send something to you? Because anyone that we put down, we had to find a tremendous amount of things. And guys, let's just be honest. If you know where he lives, if you know where his family is, carry one little, case of soda. Do something to be able to help with these things. This is how we get community back again. All right? This is how we help with what we have. Give me that GoFundMe page if you got gun for GoFundMe or however we can help.
Yeah, I sent it to your WhatsApp, right? I could get that right now, but what I wanted to let you know is about the community, right? We have, yes, Chosen? Just hold on. We got a few more minutes.
Hold on, baby. We're going right now.
Right. We have, during this time, still trying to deal with my wife and everything, but I acknowledge that there is a need for us to address this. And so we have on our team Miss Ariana Wells, and she is the contact person, and she is facilitating everyone getting their information and being able to make this push, a push like no other. And the GoFundMe, let's try to pull that up now. Is so how do you even, I'm young, right? But I don't really, how do you even
Let me see it.
I think you can go on GoFundMe and look for like Candy Stavel. I don't know, like how do you?
Let me see it.
I don't have a GoFundMe number. I mean,
Let's see.
that's too long.
GoFundMe /D22-6B5ED. Let me see if I can find it. I wasted him, right? I giving you all kind of things, right? Well, go ahead, find it. Kenny's Simon Dalvo, medical assistance. You're raising some good funds. Some things are happening in there. Please, do y'all have a Facebook page that she can be able to click it to? Okay.
Yeah,
What's the Facebook page?
Yeah, Candy Stavel. Just like
KENISEDARVILLE. Go check out on Facebook. Click on from the GoFundMe, run over there and be able to contribute if you can, all right? Let me see if I can take this one telephone call. Caller, we got you on the line. Go ahead.
Howard, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thanks for taking my call. Gerard, my cousin.
Hey.
Hey, listen, God is with you. I express my condolences to you. Of course, as you know, Anise and I go way back
to Crystal Palace. I've worked with her for about 8 years. I was totally stunned when I found out that she was your wife, and that just added even more excitement. So I share in your grief at this particular time 2 ways. You as my cousin, my family, direct family, and then Kenise as my very close friend. And any way that I can help, just reach out to me. In fact, I'll try and get to the station before you leave, so we can just fellowship a little bit, exchange the numbers, and let me see how I can help you also to get to the next level, so we get past and give Kenise the best send off that we can. Okay.
Well, I got all kind of suggestions, Jeff. Because if they can do something, they can do it big. They can need some system and audio. Amen?
Amen.
Okay, that's what I've been talking about. I got your business on lock.
Exactly. Well, he got me too.
I got your business on lock.
Okay. Let me just say one other thing. Let me just say one other thing before I go, and I appeal to everyone. The length and breadth of Nassau, New Providence in particular. That blood bank, let me tell you something, that is a disaster area. And we know why. Because with the amount of shootings and the crime and everybody needs blood and everything, that is one of the most precious resources that we need to get our blood bank back up and running again. I'm a regular blood donor, and I can tell you, it is a disaster area.
Jeff.
You never know when it's your time.
Jeff.
Okay?
Hey,
Jeff. You gotta fix the blood bank, okay?
Hey, Jeff. You can hear me? What do you think about the perceived conflict of interest with private wards in a public hospital, with doctors deciding who should and who should not get blood or get service?
From my standpoint, this is a conversation I had no longer than last night. Of course, my mother served up until her retirement in that PMH. So I could tell you about the PMH then, and what I've witnessed over the couple times I've visited friends at PMH, I can tell you the compassion level in that hospital needs to be improved. To hear the mere fact that, as you stated, there was blood available and ready for Kenise, and then all of a sudden it wasn't there anymore, apparently, because then she had to go out there and appeal to get blood to come in to try to save a life. Something is not wrong, and it does not sit well with a lot of people out there. And I'm going to appeal. Everybody, trust me, do not take this one situation with Gerard, do not take it nonchalant, because the time is going to come when it may be you. You need blood. I would say every healthy person out there, regardless of whether you have a relative in the hospital right now or not, please go and give blood.
Thank you, man, Jeff. I do appreciate it. Guys, you know what to do. We're here, 96.9 FM radio. Man, this is one of the most emotional shows I've ever had, because I know them oh so well. And this sort of an age and youth, I only see myself in the situation and trying to figure out what I would do. I probably would take a different approach. Probably wouldn't get no resolve out of it. So I really commend you, Gerard, for being able to, with humility, and to find the strength to do this today. Ladies and gentlemen, please be a part of the conversation. 325-4316, 325-4259, 422-4796. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant. Let's take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
Foundation.
With over 25 years in business, nothing says commitment to our people, culture, and service like Rev. And this year is no different. We will continue to elevate your home experience for you to create and share memories for years to come, while keeping you connected to the people and things you love most. Our pledge to provide quality service each year remains true. Rev is made for you.
Whether your business is in-store, on the go, or both, let Fidelity work with you to maximize your customers' payment options with a fixed or mobile terminal so that you never miss a sale. It's safer than cash and more convenient so that you can take your business anywhere For details, contact a business development officer today at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport, or visit our website at fidelitygroup.com.
We're good for you.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company right here with the foundation. Have a good conversation with my good friend, Gerard Davo. You pick up the papers today, you can be able to see his wife's beautiful face in there. And she's no longer with us, definitely in spirit, but not in body. And he's really talking about not just sort of what happened within the hospitals, what could have happened, but what needs to happen going forward. And he put something out there. I've already got a couple of texts and say, I want to be a part of the community. Talk to us more about this community. Put some numbers out there, and then I can read a few texts.
Yeah. So what the community is for us to be able to bring awareness and support to these issues. We have a lot of families who suffered in silence because they may not have known the correct paths to go, or they may not have been able to afford to pursue the correct paths to the full length and breadth that they would like. I would like to now stand in the gap and say, these situations should not happen to Bahamians. Because if you could go and bring an IHOP over here, why you can't bring a Jackson Memorial? Why you can't bring a Mayo Clinic? What is the intention of keeping us like this? If you say that we are a country that services 5 million tourists a year, if something was to happen to the cruise ship, do we have the hospital capacity to serve them and us?
You got my mind twirling and moving now, because let's just say IHOP more specifically, right? Or McDonald's or Burger King, these are franchises. People franchise, they look to expand. Does hospitals have that kind of an idea of expansion? Can you get a hospital franchise fee? You know what I mean? Like, that's just the first thing on my mind. And if so, maybe that's not a bad idea. This is crazy. Let me tell you something. Through trial and tribulation that we go through these issues that we go through, we birth the sort of base that the next generation would need to move forward. And while it's as hard as we're going through it, our determination, the spirit, the creativity that exists in us has to find a way. And with this issue right now, this community that you're starting, this idea of being able to advocate to ensure that we can get the blood bank together, this idea of being able to give some sense of gratification, right? Whether it's monetary or another way, it has to be gratification that you're giving to people. I remember when I used to give blood, when we gave blood at one point to somewhere, I can't remember what it is. You get a Vitamalt or Guinness or something.
Yes.
You used to get a Vitamalt or Guinness.
Yes, a Guinness. They don't give it Guinness no more.
What? They don't give it a Guinness no more?
No, only
right?
Vitamalt.
Only the Vitamalt now, right? So what's the gratification is still in the exchange.
Yes.
I gave you this and I expect something in exchange. So if the monetary funds are there, what is Power saying? I got to find out more about that.
Yeah, you could go and ask.
I can ask them. I can find out more about that.
So, Howard, right, the community, what we want to do is to be able to come together and to be able to be a watchdog. We would like to work with organizations like Organizations for Responsible Governance. We would like to work with organizations like FOAM that look after families of murdered victims.
Man, this is, wow.
Because what they did to that hospital was nothing short of murder. If O negative blood,
which my wife was,
okay, is the universal donor. That means anybody who come in to A&E with a trauma, if they can't identify what their blood type is, they have to give them, they have to have available O negative blood. So why was my wife begging her life for blood? Why did my wife have to text me and say, baby, if I don't get this blood today, I don't think I can make it. Why she have to text her family and say she feel like her body's shutting down because she can't get the blood? Ain't nobody bringing the blood. Where was the chief medical consultant in charge of Kenny's case, in charge of Kenny's ward, who's supposed to be notified if there's any changes in a patient's symptoms? Why wasn't her level of oxygen escalated to ventilator so that she could have been able to sustain? Remember, I told you that my wife got her test on the 17th of January.
Mm-hmm.
They said that the test would take 1 to 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I got my wife test results back on January 19th at 11:40.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to tell the messenger, thank you for the message, but my wife is already gone.
Huh.
Now imagine if they put that level of effort from the 2nd of January. Imagine if they had put that level of effort when my wife first went into the hospital, October.
We wouldn't be here right now. It would be a different conversation.
And the doctors admitted that the only complication with my wife was the overproduction of the white blood cells. They were waiting for the test to show them the recommended treatment to reduce the level of white blood cells. You reduce the white blood cells, she get to breathe better because her oxygen could improve because the red blood cells could grow larger. You deplete the white blood cells, her platelets could grow and be able to clot the blood because they won't be restricted by immature, overgrown white blood cells. Then the pain in the back would go, right? All of these things stemmed from being able to identify. So what were they doing for 8 days, 10 days, 14 days?
15 days. Wow.
What were they doing? I mean, you know how they made me feel? They made me feel like I go on to the mechanic and I carry a car to the mechanic and the mechanic put the car on the side until after he finished one big job and then he come around to me.
And you get a chance.
And you get a chance to look at it. Because how else, Howard, could you explain that you on a critical care block? Listen now. Critical care block. And it take you 15 days to get a test that was recommended.
Wow.
You know, I request for my wife notes from last week, Monday, right?
And you didn't get it.
They wouldn't give me my wife notes.
Is that something that they do?
That is my right. We was trying to airlift my wife from out of here. I had to request her notes to get it. And when the doctor, boy, it's a cold world, yeah. And I can let you all know this, Bahamas, it's a cold world. The doctor that get offended, when I asked for the referral for my wife to go to the States, because you have to communicate, the States, they communicate doctor to doctor so that they could understand what's going on with the patient before the patient goes over there. The doctor say ain't that so who on the social media one gets discharged? Say I'd write a discharge paper before I write a referral.
That's what he's saying.
He would write my wife a discharge paper before he write a referral. And then I had to call and I said, you all mix up.
That's the decent version you're telling us today.
Yes.
I know, because I wouldn't have been decent either.
And
I couldn't have this interview.
Man, but, you know, Howard, I can tell this to you, right? But I was going through it, I was second guessing. I was second guessing, right?
I know.
And guess what? You wouldn't believe it, right?
Some things whispered to you also.
Hey, you wouldn't believe it, right? I mean, hey, so the neighborhood crazy, right? Walk past me, and he tell me, say, boy, hold your head, you know. And I look at him, and I say, boy, if this crazy man telling me hold my head, boy, I think he talking from an experience.
The crazy man tell you hold your head. My God, listen, that's a little levity for you, Rick, but it's a serious thing. Let me see if I can take a telephone call. Caller, you're on the line. You got 30 seconds before we get out of here. I got a ton of texts. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good day. How you doing, Howard?
I'm good, man. What's up?
Everything good.
I appreciate your call.
My deepest condolences to your guest. My wife was playing that thing in my yard going out to her. I don't know what I would do if I was in your situation.
I'm telling you.
And more importantly, we getting horror story after horror story out of the hospital. And you know what the sad thing is? The last caller said, one day it might be you, one day it will be you. All that's appointed one day to go in that place. Or if you ain't got no money, you got to go there. Or even if you can't. But the long story short is, we in this place be joking. Because even the doctor, like, for you to get admitted, for them to touch you, they got to charge you $5,000. When they ain't got no ambulance, they relying on the ambulance from PMH to bring you or whatever. And then if you ain't got no money, they got to carry you. Like this whole system is messed up. You understand? I don't understand why we can't get it together. Just like they did the COVID, you go there to get the COVID tested. Why the same thing can't be around the whole island collecting blood? If blood is an issue, why you can't fix the problem when it's too late? You got to go ahead of these things. You understand? So, for the life of me, whoever is the chief medical officer, I would have been embarrassed to go to work today. I would have tell them, you know what? I put in my paper. You only got to fire me. I can fire myself. I retire. And then they have this other thing is where you go to the hospital or to the clinic. They say, oh, well, you need to come to my private office. They figure you got a couple of dollars.
Wow.
When you get there, they diagnose you or whatever. Then you got to go back in the hospital for them to operate on you or do whatever they got to do and deal with the hospital. You paying twice.
The same hospital you've been into first.
Right. They rope
Wow.
you out of there, bring you to their private little thing, and then they put you back in there when they got to do whatever.
Double dipping.
But that's the conflict of interest.
You know who end up paying for it? You paying for it twice because you paying the tax of the government for all the facilities. Now you paying again.
Wow.
But my brother, I want to keep you encouraged, man. And I tell that boy, chosen, that's the right name for him because he must be chosen for real purpose in this world. You know, and I want to keep encouraging you and hope that, don't let this die.
What I need from you is right. What I need from you is right.
Please, let's make it wait.
Is that politicians only understand numbers. We need our group because guess what? If they understand that they wouldn't get voted for if they don't address this situation, they could be forced to address this.
They got to.
They got to. See, we can't keep playing the game backwards. Right? Look at Lincoln Bean. Right? He found the cause and he agitating and he have his community of people
who support that.
That support that.
Yeah.
That support a cause.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to ever pick up a cause that nobody's supporting. Mm-hmm. And when we look at this thing holistically, yes, all of us do have to go to that hospital.
Mm-hmm.
But now, how are we going to make it right? How are we going to tell them, look here now, you have to sit with us? Because if in the States, they could say, all right, you can have medical insurance for $1 a day, right? Then we got to break up the insurance cartel over here with telling us we got to pay an arm and a leg for medical insurance. Because I can tell you this, I'd rather pay $1 a day in the States and catch a flight to Miami on my national air carrier and be alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're talking strong, you know.
Why can't we have the same set of benefits as people that ain't even as good as Bahamians? Because Bahamians is the best set of people in the world.
I agree with you 100%, my brother. We's the best.
All these other people around the world could be able to live till 70 and 80 and 90 and you're looking at them and you're saying, well...
And we got aggressive forms of breast cancer, prostate cancer, this cancer, that cancer, all these things, and we live in paradise. We should have better opportunities. Somebody texts and says, BTC gave phone minutes and other gifts in exchange for Blood of the Water Marathon when they did it, right? And somebody texts and says, some people can only give themselves blood. O negative won't work. This is just some text that's actually coming through. Guys, I see your text. I want to be able to read it. It says, listening to Kenny's story resembles my husband's story. He's still in the fight to build up his platelets, right? These stories mirror so many stories that persons are being able to say the exact same thing. It's just terrible. No one is monitoring the doctors. All of these doctors are chasing money. These are the text that's actually coming through.
You think, you know what I feel like? We got to be careful if we ain't have doctors up there with a serial killers.
That's crazy.
Because it baffles me to the point that when you graduated from school, right, you had a choice, right? You say, do I like people or do I don't like people? Right?
I don't know.
And if you didn't, and if you didn't like people, right, you go into jobs where you don't interact with people,
like accounting or something.
See, I go on to say accounting, but then he said Howard said, all right,
what is accounting? You're in the back of the house, right? This is the most quiet place in the hotel, the accounting department. They didn't talk to nobody.
But if you want to get into healthcare, if you want to get into hospitality,
you gotta like people,
and you gotta be able to understand people. You gotta be able to understand if a person is talking from hurt, person is talking from pain, right? And how could you internalize that? Like I went to a pharmacy, right, the other day, right? Chosen was coming down with something, right? And I asked the lady, I said, do you have any saline, right? I say the spray inside the churn nose. So she looked at me and she said, oh, you can't get that. Say, that's a baby. You need the drops. And I'm like, no. I say, I use the one with spray. She said, oh, if this for the baby, you can't get it. I'm like, miss, I don't need drops. I need spray. The boy's nose is clogged. I need to move the mucus around so that he doesn't get worse. The woman say, oh, I don't know what you think you're talking, and walk off. I say, ma'am, so what you trying to do is you trying to say that my child should remain sick because you don't want to give me the spray saline
that you asked for and you about to pay for.
But you want to give me the drops. Well, guess what? I understood what the problem was. Because on the drop saline, it also says spray. But guess what? She didn't read down that far. So me and her was having an argument over the same thing.
Lack of communication.
Right? So she said, this one need to drop. She said, you just drop it, but right underneath that, right, and say, for all the kids, you spray. I say, oh my goodness. I say, Mom, why are you here? If you getting mad at me, right, and the thing right on there, like, why are you mad with me?
Would you ask her why she here?
But why you here?
Ladies and gentlemen, maybe we couple more of these texts before we get on the air, Bob. We can bring a little taste of levity to the situation. It says, Howard, she could have given blood to anyone, but she could not take blood from many. Her blood, like mine, is rare. It says, we need to put type of blood from my birth on file. Okay.
Yeah, but see, all right, so that context is true. But Howard, let's remember now, right, how the healthcare system works. Anybody who's suffering from trauma and you can't identify what blood type they are, they automatically get O negative. Mm-hmm. So that means at any given point, the hospital has to have a steady supply of O negative. Because if my wife didn't get any O negative blood because there wasn't any, then any trauma victim that came inside there afterwards.
A, B, whoever, whatever your blood type is, yeah.
Because if you bleeding out, the doctor's trying to get you blood. They don't have the time to go and run your blood to the lab, get a test, wait for that to come back.
Yeah, they just grabbed the O negative.
They just grabbed the O negative.
Let me see if I can be able to read this. I'm not going to be able to get to this caller. I see that the caller's online. I do apologize, guys. Please, give me a text, 422-4796. I see the tremendous amount of text coming through. It says, I'm lost as to why there is a need to start a GoFundMe page. This family has all the evidence of neglect at the hospital. Did I hear correctly that the cause of death was COVID? People are asking me about this from the United States of America. No. The GoFundMe page, I believe, is designed to be able to assist with the bereaving family actually putting Kanice to rest, right? So that's one of the issues. So this is there's two conversations happening simultaneously. There's a community that's being formed. I'm sure that Gerard will give me more information about that as time progresses. He'll come on, I'll give him the platform to have a conversation about how we can be able to get it. We're still going to be supporting him also with this blood drive on February 14th. So we're going to have a Valentine's Day blood drive, and we're going to use the platform, whatever we can do to be able to get that information. So he says, you can't have surgeries unless persons donate blood, but they will use the same blood to save the person's life who was involved in a senseless shooting or stabbing. There's some information that's coming through. Howard, I am truly sorry for the Davos loss. There comes a time when the Davos and other persons who feel and felt as if the PMH was negatively or neglecting the caused by the loved ones to die should seek consultation as it relates to a lawsuit. PMH has to now see that negligence not only causes Bahamian people lie, but it causes the Bahamian people's financial loss. PMH should be more made accountable for the neglect or the incompetence, period. All right, so that's a text that come through. She probably did die from COVID. COVID increases severity of the primary infections, right? No. Right. That's just people just talking. They out here listening, so they talking. Okay. Good day, gents. Deepest condolences to Mr. Davos and his wife, families, and friends regarding Paho. They need to sit down for real. Otherwise, I'd be led to think that there's a conspiracy to deprive the Bahamians of blood donations and hence encourage loss of life as a result of the deprivation from blood. Sidebar, I remember years ago when BTC held a blood drive and gifted donors various rewards for donating blood. That's the second text that came through that said that, right? And we're talking about if there's going to be an exchange, let there be an exchange. Howard, spelled Harwood. Bananas. I've never seen it spelled like that. Harwood.
He thought he was playing basketball, man. Hardwood, man.
Howard, right? So I have asthma, and I will take my chances at home. If the hospital don't have enough asthma machines, you already can breathe, but you have to wait. How is that, right? So let's see. My condolences to the families. A lot more text coming. My condolences to the family and to the deceased. Everyone can get the hospital, and the parking there is madness. Okay. I used to have a stuffy nose. Guys, there's a lot of text that coming through, right? There's a lot of text that's coming through. My phone keep vibrating in my hand. Right? Good afternoon, Dwight. Okay, so this is Howard. So I feel for Mr. Davos' pain. I recently had my family member to apply for social services for the approval of and to have surgery. It took 4 months, and they finally called it last week with the approval. This was 2 months after the person passed away. Absolutely pathetic. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the show today. Gerard, I want to thank you so much, man, for the opportunity to be able to sit here. I consider you extremely brave, man, to have the strength to have this conversation, to have the strength to have this fight. I always told you I know you have a major fight in you. Who knew that it would come to this? Whatever you need from me, my brother, in terms of being able to use my platform, my resources, whatever I have, I want to be able to assist you with that.
Thank you very much.
Let's do that. My family and I commit ourselves to being able to assist you, and we're going to use the foundation to talk about your blood drive, to talk about this community that needs to be forged, to have more conversations. I know you can't come here talk politics with me no more.
No.
Talk to me.
No.
To me. You want to talk? Because I was looking for you to do that.
So, Howard, I can say this right. I thank you, and I thank the Bahamian people, because as I always been saying, right, because a common loftier goal, right, where we bonded by love and service. We say this all the time, and this is what I truly believe.
My brother, I thank you so much. That's the show for the day, guys. I thank you. This is The Foundation with Howard Grant, 96.9 FM radio. Guys, tomorrow we're going to have Luby Georges talking about your favorite topic, illegal immigration. We're going to be here on The Foundation, 96.9. Please stick and stay for Z Live with Shavago Lang right after this. Have a good day, guys.
The foundation.